Okay, looked like I am live. This, if this works, this was not my doing. I scheduled it, I went in, I did everything I was supposed to do, and then it kept dropping me. So, okay, all right. Anybody? If you're there, say hello. All right. Well, it looks like I'm live. It looks like there was some technical difficulties, but they were not on my end. Anyways, Switzerland was phenomenal. It's really, really amazing. Everything that you would expect from Switzerland, chocolate and cheese and mountains and yodeling. And we went into we found kind of like a beer hall, if you will. And I think we're good now, babe, if you can close the door. That was the British, but I can see there's other people here, so that's good. The first night we found a beer hall or a beer garden, if you will, which, okay, so here's the here's the interesting thing about Switzerland, because it's this teeny tiny country that is surrounded by a lot of other countries, depending on where you are. Hey, thank you, Lisa. And Susan says, hello. Hey, girl. Okay. Oh, you guys, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much for commenting and let me know. It was the weirdest thing. I was like in it and I was here by myself and then it kept dropping. I don't know, but you guys are here now and that's all I care about. So I'm talking about Switzerland. I'm so glad I'm back. I've missed you guys. I did miss you all a lot. Trust me. So Switzerland is surrounded by a lot of different countries. Germany, Italy, and France. I think that's it. So depending on where you are in this country, and it's a very small country, they speak those different languages. So like up in the north, we started up in Zurich, and they spoke mostly kind of a German sound, German. But then there's also like a Swiss German dialect that even Germans don't understand, apparently. Excuse me. The Brit gave me this, by the way. This is not a souvenir that I wanted to come back with. And I'm drinking hot lemon and honey, Manuka honey. Anyways, so up in Zurich, they kind of speak this German-ish. So you can say Danke, and they're very, very friendly, so friendly. Lots of chocolate, lots of cheese, lots of fondue. My very first night there, I had fondue. We were in a beer garden, and it was pretty good. But I did learn there are etiquettes, and I'm glad I learned these ahead of time. We were with a friend, and I was like, look up on your phone and make sure that I'm not doing anything, like wrong. So they give you these forks. They give you your own little pot. Hi, Roadman, and Lisa is here, and Susan, Amy June. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a very blessed week. Thank you, Amy June. Welcome. So you get your own little pot of fondue, and you get this big, long stabbing fork, and they give it to you with cubes of bread, and then also they have these potatoes that they call roasties that are, oh my God, phenomenal. They're like just little like new potatoes, and they roast them and they cook them. So they're really soft and cooked all the way through. And then they cook them with like probably garlic and butter and all kinds of like really ooey gooey things. Hello, is it Lisa? Hello, Lisa. And you dip these things with this big long fork. Now, when I did fondue when I was a kid, you take it from the fork and you just shove it in your mouth. But that's not the right thing to do, because the ooey gooey germs that you put onto that fork go back into the shared fondue pot. So if you are sharing your fondue with people, then you need to not do that. So the proper way to do it is you take your big stabby fork and you dip your stuff in it and you kind of swirl it around. And because it stays hot, they have like a little, what do they call those things? They're like the burners. They're not kerosene, but they have like a little thing. You can buy them disposable. I forgot what they're called. You guys know what I'm talking about? They're for like chafing dishes. And you open it up and it's got like this weird kind of a waxy, gooey stuff in it. And then it lights on fire. So it has those inside of it, underneath. So it stays uber hot. Like it's like molten lava. So you take it off the fork, and you put it on your plate and you let it cool down. That's the proper way to do it. And, honestly, you can only really eat so much fondue before your insides are going, excuse me. So I did share it. The first one was pretty good. It was made with Kirsch. And if your tile says knit, if you're not knitting, yeah, I know. So thank you. I knit and I do both. I'm currently crocheting, but I also knit, and I will show you what I've been knitting in just a second. But thank you for noticing that. Yeah, it just sounded better to say Kimberly with knit for brains, than because knit rhymes with the word that you would say when you say that with brains. That's why I did that. But anyways. So I had a lot of fondue, and it was amazing, and it was delicious. We went to Zurich, where they kind of speak a Germanish French, and then we went down to Lucerne, which is beautiful. It's like this little fairy tale, and they speak the German-ish Swiss there. And then from there, we went to a place called San Moritz, which is like the Saint-Tropez of Switzerland, they call it. It's where like the rich and famous ski. This person here does not ski. The Brit used to ski, but he's not allowed to ski anymore because we have a frequent flyer car to the emergency room. And so I will tell you, Amy, what I'm crocheting. So he's not allowed to, much to his dismay. He's not allowed to ski. But it was apparently great skiing, but there was a lot of snow. And then from there, we went to a place called Grindelwald, which was like anything you think about with Switzerland, think of that. It had like the gingerbread scallops on the buildings. It was way up in the mountains, these beautiful little chateaus and chalets. It was amazing. The place where I did the short, we were way up in the snow, and I was like, that's the top part. That's basically Grindelwald. And there's a place up there called Jungfrau, and it's the highest train station in Europe. And you take a train or what they call a funicular. You could do a funicular. You can do like a tram kind of a thing. A funicular is like imagine a little train car, right? If this is the mountainside, it doesn't go like a tram. It actually rides up the mountainside. So you stay like horizontal and you go up the mountainside like this. That's a funicular. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. You guys can't get this, which is a good thing. The Brit gave me this, but I'm not. I love you guys too much to give it back to you. So we went there, and then after there, which was it was like a little fairy tale. Then we went to Geneva, which was very interesting. That's like where all the science and tech of the entire world, the United Nations is there, the World Health Organization is there, the headquarters for the International Red Cross is there. This place called CERN, which is where they do high speed velocity. They take protons and they crash them together, and then they break them apart, and then they see what's inside of them. And through that, they've learned like about the Big Bang Theory and like it's like way big sciencey kind of stuff, but it was actually pretty interesting. But it's all below ground, because if you were to take the tube that these things go high speed in and spread it out, it's like over a mile long. So they put it in a big, huge circle, and it goes through different parts of Italy and France, and like it's massive. And they make all these, like they blow things up in this little tube, not a little tube. And then they take pictures of it, and the pictures, I think they do like 65,000 frames a second. I don't know. It's something like beyond my capability, but it was amazing. So we went to Geneva, and then we went to Bern, this little city, beautiful. It's a UNESCO heritage site. It's a medieval little town. And they have all these really amazing little fountains and things like that. And there's in the middle of the town, there's this little enclosure, and there's a bear in there. Just a very happy bear, I must say. It's not like in a zoo. I mean, the bear is wandering around. I don't even think the bear knows that it's in any kind of captivity. But yes, it is a super collider. That's exactly what it is. Renee, thank you. The CERN super collider. And it was, the Brit really wanted to go because he's, I don't want to say geek, because I actually think it was pretty interesting. But my friend and I, we both got our excitement. She went to the chocolate factory. She was very excited. I like that too. And then we went to the Zurich Museum of Art, and I got to see some Van Goghs. The one where he has the ear, where he cut the ear off. His self-portrait is in there. And some of Claude Monet's water lilies are in there. That's my Jones. So we all got our fixes. And when the Brit said, this thing called CERN, and he was really kind of quiet about it, we're like, wait, is this something that you're interested in? We have the day, let's go. And it actually was pretty cool. I have to say, it was pretty cool. So I don't really mind that he gave me this cold. I mean, I don't like having colds, but I did. Anyways, so yes, it was a super collider. And then we ended up going into Bern, which was this cute little medieval city. And they have a bear, because Bern in German means bear. And that was amazing. And then from there, we went back to Zurich, and then we flew out of Zurich. And so we were there. It was like just a full 2 weeks. We flew out on a Thursday, and then we flew home on a Thursday. So 2 full weeks. Yeah, it was incredible. There might have been some yodeling that I did, maybe. I'm not going to lie, but there might have been some yodeling. And some of the people on our trip their luggage didn't show up. Good Life from Italy, a family in camper. Hey, okay. So as I was saying, different parts of Switzerland, depending on what country it borders, speaks German, French, and Italian. So it was, and I don't really speak German. I can say Danke, Bitte, Dankeschön, Gesundheit, that kind of stuff. The Brit speaks more, but I speak fairly good French, and I can sort of manage my way around Italy. So, depending on where we were, I was like, cutting it up, man. I was just tearing it up with all the languages. Anyways, it was an amazing, amazing trip. People were very, very nice. It was expensive. I'm not gonna lie. It was expensive. I could not find a yarn store, but some of the people on our trip, so we got there a little bit earlier before everybody else did, about 3 days earlier. So we spent some days in Zurich. We went to Lucerne, which is where we ended up joining the rest of the tour. 3 people on the tour didn't have their luggage show up for like the first 2 days. One lady had her luggage show up like day 3 or 4, and the trip was 6 days long. But one girl, she was really, really sweet. She was from Tampa. She and her friend Blossom and her friend, they didn't have any luggage. And I was like, you guys, and I know what that's like. So I was like, you kind of look like you are my size. Do you want my clothes? So I actually split my clothes with her, which I thought, was really nice. I gave her some of my like yoga pants and a sweater, and even the Brit gave her a sweater, just something she could have a change of clothes in. Didn't do the underwear, but I was like, you can wash your own underwear in the sink in the hotel. I don't want to share it. And I don't want yours. You don't want mine. That's no, but here's my sweater. Here's my pants. Here's my whatever. And then she knew that I crocheted and I knit. And she's like, I said, I'll tell you what, we'll go to the store that I found yarn, and you buy it and I'll make you something. And I thought, I'm not going to have time to make it on the trip. I'll bring it home and then I'll crochet it and I'll send it back to her. Well, as it turns out, I actually did it and I finished it. And there was a short that I put up on my shorts page of the a blossom, and I made her this really pretty cowl. I was wearing a cowl and she's like, I like that. And I found this yarn. Do you know where I found yarn? Craziest thing. I'm sure there's yarn stores in Switzerland. I'm sure that there are. I couldn't find any. And all the stores in Switzerland are closed on Sundays. All. So that limits it a little bit. I found yarn in basically I'd call it a supermarket, and it's called, well, in France it's called co-op, and in England it's called co-op, but they take the hyphen out in Switzerland, so it's called Coop. So that's where I found it. It was like a 4-story, think of like a super Target or a super Walmart. You got groceries on one floor, and then housewares, and then, like clothing, and then they had yarn. And I was like, shut up, they have yarn. So that's where I found the yarn. So if you're like, I didn't see the yarn here, I found it at the co-op. I will show you, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing here. So somebody somewhere on one of the videos mentioned, because I was like, what's a good yarn line from Switzerland? And I couldn't think of one, and somebody said Lang yarns. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I went into the grocery store. Someone's like, did you buy anything? Of course I bought yarn. I mean, hello. And I bought this stuff. It is a baby cotton, and it's by Lang. And they had Lang and they had Katia, which, I love Katia. Katia is out of Spain. Those were pretty much the only 2 lines that I saw there at the Coop. But this is from Switzerland. And it is, I don't know, I'm looking at the labels. It says, oh, okay. Men, women, and 10 years. Okay. Must be for children. This is 100% cotton. And so I got 4 balls of this. Now, this came in at about, it was cheaper. I think this, I got 4 balls. Where's the other one? Here it is. And they're all from the same dye lot, which is interesting, in the same color, but they look different to me. Like this one's got some grays and blues going on, and these are, so I thought they were kind of cool. These were about, let me think about the exchange rate, because they were in Swiss francs. I think I paid 5. So these are about probably 6 or 7, about $7 a ball. And the balls are 180 meters, 50-gram balls. So not bad, $8. I mean, that's kind of standard. I know, yay for finding yarn. I was so excited. So when my new friend Blossom had lost her luggage, I was like, hey. So I took her to the store to try to find like a hat and stuff at the Coop, and she couldn't find any. So I was like, I'll get you some yarn. So she picked out this beautiful Katia yarn, which I had used before. I don't know where it is, it's somewhere. And I said, pick out 2 balls, and I made her a cowl. And everybody was like, wait, you made that on the trip? And I was like, yep. So while we were like zipping around in the coach all over Switzerland, I crocheted this cowl for her, and she wanted like kind of a balaclava that you could wear over the head and then around the neck. And so, yeah, so that's what I did. So I didn't get as much knitting done for me and crocheting as I wanted to, but that was okay. I felt good. It did my heart good that I was able to give her something. She ended up getting her luggage, but now she's got this, beauty, and it actually is really pretty. It's all different rainbow colors and things like that. All right. So to answer everyone's questions, what am I doing now? I am so excited. I am crocheting, but I'll show you something else I'm knitting. This boho Rua, I think they call it. I think it's a Rua, R-U-H-A. I think is what they call it. Anyways, this guy here, it is made by Noro Yarns, in this magazine here. And I loved it, but I also love these colors. I like those sunshine colors. And I was looking through my Noro yarn stash, and I realized I have the yarn. I have enough of the yarn to make this pattern. I just didn't have it in that color. And I was like, but I didn't care. So I have to make 3 triangles. I've made 2 of the 3. So these are the first 2. And I do love the colors. And so I am making the 3rd triangle here. And then when it's done, then I have to make 2 half triangles. And it goes together. So it kind of comes over the shoulders like this. Isn't it pretty? So I'm making this out of Noro yarn. So that's what I'm crocheting right now. But wait, there is more. I did finish the sweater that I was working on, sort of. It's a little short in the front, and I have a little bit of yarn left. So I'm going to have to, do I really want to show it to you? It's way over there. I'll show it to you next week when it's all done. But I just have to add a little bit more to the bottom. It's just slightly short. And I have the yarn, and I just got lazy. Have you ever been like, you're finishing a project and you're like, I can't wait for this thing to be done? And so maybe you shortchange yourself just a little bit, and you're like, I'll get back to you. You just think about what you've done. Well, it's sort of in that timeout moment, but I will get back to it, and I will add on. I have enough yarn to probably add maybe like another 2 inches to the bottom, which is pretty much exactly what it's calling for. I just need to have a little timeout from that project. So, and I really wanted to get ticking onto this guy here. So I put that aside, but I will finish it. When it's done, I will show you. Now, I did bring a project with me on the trip. I have so much to share with you guys. I did bring a project with me on the trip. I'm going to find it. Where did I put it? Hang on. Where the heck did it go? It literally grew legs and it just walked away. It was right here and it walked away. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my marbles. Guys, where did it go? It was right here. Oh, I know. Hold on. It was in here. I threw it out. Okay. So this, and I think I might have shown this before. It's this wild card cowl by Zenitz. And I loved this. And it's a perfect application. Oh, thanks, Renee. She says I got good karma points for kindness. Thank you. Yeah, I did. And she was very sweet, and she was very appreciative. She's like, I can't believe you made that for me. I was like, well, you bought the yarn, friend. But I did the hard part. Anyways, so the cowl, it looks like this, and it is knitted, but this is a great application if you have mini, like a lot of little mini skeins and things like that that you just kind of want to get through. And I love the mini skeins that I had. So I'll show you what I did. And then I had a knitting blowout. Knitting blowout. Let me tell you if this has ever happened. This is why I have a hard time using circular needles sometimes. So this is what it looks like. Hang on here. It looks like this. And now I have to block it and all that kind of stuff. But it's cool, right? So it changes the colors. And then you go, it's a lot of short rows and long rows and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going along, and I was using, and I hate to say this, I was using my Luca circular knitting needles. And look what happened. Y'all, I had a knitting blowout. The knitting needle, I don't know where I put it. It's here. Came out. So this guy right here, it didn't unscrew. It literally came out of the metal hooking right in here. Mid row. So it happened somewhere in here. And I was like, oh no. So I was not impressed. So I had to literally stop this project. But this is what I did on the trip and on the plane. I love the colors though. Aren't they pretty? And then you use a contrasting color in between here to break it up. So when it's all done, it's going to sit around the neck and kind of go like this. It's pretty. I really like it. But I had to get some Gorilla Glue to glue it back together. I was not impressed, but I knew it was going to happen because I could feel the needle kind of coming in and out like this in the setting. I was not impressed. So that happened. So I'm going to finish this guy. Yeah, but I love this pattern. It's a super simple pattern. It's by Zanitz or Zane Knits. Somebody told me. I think it's Zane. It's Zane Knits. And it's working with short rows, which I'm not a pro at. So I figured this would be a good way to learn. But I love these colors. I love the tweed in these colors. I loved the fall colors as they come together. This yarn is from We Crochet. You know what? It's not, Lisa says it should be difficult. It's actually not that difficult. Really, let me explain something to you in a second. Knitting the back and forth is just back and forth on the circular needles. I could have done this on straight needles. I could have. Because it's not going to get any wider. I possibly should. We'll just see. It's just that straight needles are harder to travel with because they're long. But this guy, not so much. I did love the tweeding in here. And this yarn is from We Crochet. And it was one of their little mini stroll packs. Let me see if I can find the bag for it. Well, okay, so it looks like this mini stroll pack. And I liked it so much. This is their Radiant Reds. So you get 5 balls in here. Now, Lisa, I'm going to make this and I'm going to crochet it. So with this set here, I'm actually going to crochet it. And I'm going to just probably do like single crochets. And all you do is you go back and forth, and it's 49 stitches long. And then what you do, let me see if I can show you. It's 49 stitches across. And then you go out to where there's 7 stitches left at the end of the row. And then you just turn around and you keep going back and forth. So what you end up doing is you increase, let me see if I can find you a good one. You basically stop here and then you increase as you go this way. So one side's going to be really thick because you keep adding onto that side, and then you go down, and then in the next row, you go 7 stitches away from the last. So then you're 14 stitches out, and then you're 21 stitches out, and then you're, like 32 or whatever, and you go all the way to 49. So that's how it works. So basically you end up making this triangle. And then the idea, and I kind of screwed up at one point, but it's for me, no one really cares, is that you go the fat to the skinny, the fat to the skinny, the fat to the skinny. Somewhere right up in here, I went fat, fat. And I was like, oh, I thought, Yeah, it is actually easy enough. I was like, oh, phooey. But no one's going to see it because it's for me. But technically, it goes, fat, skinny, fat, skinny, fat, skinny. But I just did it too fat here. Like, oops. But that's okay. So it is easy enough. And I think you can easily do it with crochet. So what I would recommend, now I'm going to close this little guy up. Now at least we know where it is. I have it in these radiant reds. I'm going to use this as the contrast color. So I would single crochet out a chain of 49, and then I would go all the way in, miss until the last 7, and then just turn and go all the way back, and then go in all the way to the last 7, and then go in, and then all the way back. So I think it's going to be the same, and I'll let you know because I'm going to crochet it, and you guys will see it. But I did love these colors. And then when you finish, basically when you get all the way down to the 7, then you bring in this contrast, and then you go back and forth. You do 2 rows all the way across and all the way back. And then that's how you get this really pretty contrast between them. So, yeah, I think it's very easy enough to learn how to do it. And I actually I'm not usually a mini stroll pack person because I'm like, what are you going to do with them? But this pattern, I think, is perfect for that application. Just a nice little cowl, but it was a different cowl. So see here, you can just see the difference. And then at the very end, when you're all done, you just do like a picot stitch all the way around it to give it a nice little border. So if you have a mini stroll pack or you get those I don't do advent calendars. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I know a lot of yarn companies that do the advent calendars, but number one, I think they're expensive, and you get a bunch of little mini balls. And I get the whole advent calendar and the novelty of it. I love that. Excuse me, hot lemon and honey. I get the novelty of it, but I could do an advent calendar in chocolate just as easily. They're expensive, and so you get this advent calendar. It's like sometimes they're like $200. That's a lot of money. That's coming. I mean, I know you guys think I buy a lot of yarn, and I do, and I don't get the yarn for free for the most part. Occasionally I get yarn free, but not that often. You'd be amazed at how much yarn I have and how much is given to me for free. I could put it in a bag like this. So it's expensive. And so I don't know that I really want to do that, but why would I want to do an advent calendar? I mean, I'm sure it comes with a pattern, but so that's why I don't buy advent calendars of yarn. That's basically what I'm telling you. And I typically don't get stroll packs because I'm like, what the heck am I going to do with that? But this was on sale and I liked it. And I think this cowl is a perfect application for it. And so that's probably what I'm going to do, because they're all going to be different enough. Like the one I'm making is fall. This one in the reds is great for, like springs. And Renee says, yeah. They work out for socks. Yes, totally. Linda says, okay, so she has a Koigu pencil box. I know that. Oh, those are the yarns, right? The yarn pencil box yarns. I think I've seen that. Yeah. So, super great application. And like I said, I liked this pattern for the cowl because it looked different. And you could just do straight lines, I guess, if you wanted to. I liked the triangle. I thought that gave it a little bit of an artistic zhuzh to it. So I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. And I'll probably end up using the green as the contrast color, and then these colors as the mains. Yeah. So you'll see these coming along too, because it knits up or crochets up super, super, super fast. So that's what I was working on, plus the shawl or the cowl that I showed you. This is what I'm crocheting. Let's talk about, if you guys are up for it, if you saw the video that I did where I picked out some blanket patterns that I thought we could do together. Somebody says, okay, Renee says, I store all of my whips in gift bags, and then I put command hooks on the wall where I knit. Otherwise, stuff gets put everywhere. Girl, I have a lot of yarn. Someday, perhaps this month, I will show you guys my yarn storage in my closet. And I did a really cool thing, I think, the way I store my cakes and my hanks. So in the month of April, because that's kind of like a storage organizing month, I will take you on a field trip into my yarn stash closet on one of the lives. I just have to clean up just a little bit, maybe. But that's a great thing to do. Like this wall here is a great wall, but I would have to use the whole entire wall. And so I kind of tried to contain it into a closet. And then I have a hat rack over in the corner that I have all of like my project bags, and there's yarns and projects in those as well. And then I'm always up for buying new bags to put stuff in, like yarn. So this is the Babe Cave. This is my room where I do all my videos and stuff. And then I usually go downstairs and I knit and I crochet, either watching TV with the Brit, or we have like a little bar entertaining room, and I go sit in there. So I carry it all down in my bag so that, it's not like yarn explosion everywhere. I do try to contain it a little bit. Jeanette says, hi, Jeanette. She says she stores yarn in cabinets with doors. Girl, I think at one point that was the idea. And then it grew and it grew and it grew. And I try to use up all the yarn I have, but there's just no way that's going to happen. That's going to happen. I will show you, like I weave, right? So I wove this this was Malabrigo yarns. And I called this Sunrise and Sunset, this being the sunrise side and this being the sunset side. And it was all Malabrigo. And then there was some other, I think some minis in here, I think. And then what I do is it's sort of like kind of like a poncho vest. And then I just belt it up, really. So it's pretty. And this, when you weave, it uses up a lot of yarn. So it's kind of like a tunic, if you will. It's long and drapey, and it goes on like so. And then it's got sleeves here on the sides, back in there. A lot going on. All right. So let's talk about this big yarn pile that I showed you guys. And I did a video where I was talking about, hey, let's all do a cowl or like an Afghan together. And I gave you a bunch of different ideas. Of course, you guys do whatever you want. I mean, I hope that you come here and you crochet or you knit or you weave, or maybe you do like the diamond print things. You guys know what those things are? Talk about patience. You got these little teeny tiny plastic beads that look like a diamond, and then a pin that has wax on it, and you go, and it's like paint by numbers, but it's with these little diamond things. Oh, a company sent me one to try it out, and I haven't tried it out, and it's overwhelming, but I will have to try it out, and I'll show you how it works. But I don't care what you're crafting, but just come and hang out, and maybe you're working, and maybe this is your lunch hour or your break or something like that. So, whatever you're doing. But I did make a decision on the 2 blankets that I want to be doing during these lives. Just give me something to do. And they're both crochet. So somebody goes, why don't you knit? I knit and I crochet. So I do both. I decided on the Sanctum pattern. This is from the guy with the hook. And I love his stuff. And this was the one I was kind of planning on. And it's the one I'm going to do. Let me see if I can find you. It's called Sanctum. And so he was inspired. Pretty much all of his work is inspired by his travels. I'm trying to see if I can find a really good picture. Might be the best one on the front. Well, okay, this is it right here. That's the best one. And it's mosaic crochet, which means you do single crochets, but it's sort of like color work with knitting, but instead you drop down and you kind of pull yarn up. So it kind of gives it this 3D look. And I think it's going to be exciting. I did a Tina, who's from Finland. I did a mosaic from her a couple years back. It was beautiful. She does incredible mosaic projects. This is not a Tina, but we'll see. Anyways, so on his travels, he went to a lot of cathedrals and in churches and things, but in them, he got inspired by the stained glass that was in the windows of the churches and the cathedrals, and that's where he got the inspiration for this. So the light that he would see coming through the stained glass is where he got his inspiration. And my inspiration for that came from all of my sheppies or sheepies yarn that I have here. And I just, like I said, I bought this. Don't really know what project I had in mind for it, but I have it all. So I'm going to use all of these colors for, he calls for blacks and he calls for the shippies or sheepies. If anyone knows how to say it, put it in the comments and like spell it out phonetically for me, because I'm sure I'm saying it right or wrong, but I don't know. Tina does amazing work. I learned mosaic. Okay, yes, Kimmy. She does amazing mosaic. She is the best, I think, that's out there. I haven't tried his pattern, but it looks pretty straightforward. He calls for 10 balls of the sheppies or sheepies in black onyx. I didn't have it, but I have these guys. And I thought, well, that's okay. That pretty much will work, and it's going to be a nice contrast. And then I've got, excuse me, sorry. I wouldn't be meeting with you in person, but you know, we're virtual, so it's okay. So I'm going to start with these colors, and I've numbered this bag. So these are ones, and then it goes to the twos. I think these are twos, and then there's okay, so it's like 1, 2, 3, then the 4s, and then the 5s. There's 5 different colors in here. Skeppy is how I learned how to say it. It means ship. Okay, so scapey? Scapey? Like escape? That's how you, S-C-A-P-E. Scapey. Okay, cool. Well, we'll go for that then. You're the only one who's come back and no one else has helped me in my whole entire career. So let's say that it works and it means ship. I can see how it means ship. All right. Scapies. Anyways, so these are the first 5 colors I'm going to use, and they're going to transition from light to dark. And then I'm going to go into, oh, I did number these. Okay. Then I'm going into these colors. So these are 6 and then 7. And then this one down here is 8. And I think this might be 9. I think. I'm not sure. And then I toss into these guys. So it's going to be this really nice progression of color. And it's going to match what he's doing. And I think I have, it's about the same amount of yarn. Same brand, just a little different. Say the last 2 like the letters themselves. Okay. The last 2 like the letters themselves. Scapies. Scapies. I like it. I think it works. I'm going to say scapies until someone says that I'm not correct, but I like scapies. Anyway, so I have enough yarn to make that blanket. So this is what I'm going to make with all of this. And you're going to see this. I'm going to start it next week. So I'm going to be doing this in April. So this is my one project blanket. And the other one I'm excited to show you. And somebody said I'm up for the challenge, and if you do it, I'll do it. And I was like, challenge accepted. I chose to do, and it is, I think, going to be a little challenging, the Bohemian Blooms by Janie Crowfoot, this guy. And some of the squares are really straightforward. I think it's going to be no problemo. Some of them might be a little bit more complex. There's even some beading that happens in this blanket. I'm like, oh, Lord. So like some of them, that's a little bit more complex. I love it. But then some of them are very simple, kind of, and I think she goes simple to difficult, if I recall her saying so. Let me see if I can find, I mean, some of them are just like rows, plain rows like that. That I can manage. Janie Crowfoot is out of England. So the tricky part too is that you have to remember that this book is written in UK terms, not US terms. If you don't know that there's a difference, there's a ginormous difference. I did a video on it because in the UK, like this is a slip. I believe this is a slip stitch single, right? But when you yarn over like that, there's 2 loops. We would call that a single, but they would call it, I think, a double. And then if you go into your stitch and you pull out like that, that's called a triple, I think. I'm just going off the top of my head, but we know it's a double because you go through it twice. So it has to do with the number of loops on your hook at the moment, I believe is how I have to go back and look at my notes, but I think that's what it was. Anyways, so you just have to be really careful when you're working between the two. But there is a very easy to understand glossary here that shows you. So, like slip stitch is the same. A double crochet in the UK is a single crochet for us. So it has to do with the number of yarn loops on the hook. Their treble crochet, so what they consider is 3, because there's 3 loops, is what we would consider a double. So as long as you got that figured out, you're going to be fine. This was inspired by different parks and different parts of London and the areas that she's lived in. So I'm kind of excited about it. I think it's very, her stuff is very feminine, very whimsical, very floral, botanical. See, she gets her inspiration from things like this. So I'm going to do it. And if I can, do an easy part while I'm on the air, I will do it. But some of these squares are just gorgeous. See that? With the beading. Oof, I love it. This is this is legacy. So there's like parks in London and different, surrounding areas where she got inspiration from. So anyways, this is the other one I'm going to do. Let me show you the yarn I'm going to use for it. I'm excited. This is the palette yarn from We Crochet and Knit Picks. It's on both sites. But I fell in love with palette, and it was on a big sale a while back. Let me show you. This is how much palette I have. When I told you that I can't put it in a drawer, you understand now, right? So this is a way for me to get rid of these yarns, to do something with these yarns, to get them out of my craft room and get some space. So I'm going to use all this yarn. Now, in this book, she calls for a lot of different yarns. Baby merino with silk, and a felted tweed, and a soft yak, and a summer light, and which is 100% cotton. I'm like, good Lord, woman, this is like $1 bazillion worth of yarn. But she uses like 2 balls of this and 3 balls of this and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, no. I'm using the palette yarn, which is, and I have it in all the colors, and I got it in all the heathered colors. This is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. It's still a beautiful yarn. And I think these were on sale for like $3. Now, maybe a little bit more. I happen to know that We Crochet is going to be running some specials and promotions on this yarn next month. I'm going to try very, very, very hard not to buy more. But I thought it'd be a good way for me to use it while they're doing the promotions. But if they do come up with a big sale, whatever, I will let you guys know if you don't already know it yourself. But anyways, I'm going to be doing it with this yarn. Now, here's the tricky part. This yarn the palette is a fingering weight yarn. So it's great for hats and color work and things like that. She calls for a DK weight, and I have to just double check what that means in the UK, but I believe DK weight in the UK is like a 3, I believe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably have to double strand it. I think it's going to be okay. I mean, it's because it's going to have to be a little bit thicker than this would be for a blanket, but it's going to be fine. And I'm thinking I could get kind of artistic and double strand the colors, because I only have one color, one ball of each one of these colors. I don't know what I was thinking. I have no idea. I loved them so much. I just was like, I got to get them all. Anyways, but I do have a lot of this one. Excuse me. And hold on, please. Don't you hate calls? They're just that tickle. It's awful. Oops. My yarn is literally just rolling out by itself. So I have a lot of this color, and I have a lot of this one, which is called Oregon Coast. This is called Comfrey, and this one is called Oregon Coast Heather. It's beautiful. In one part, she calls for 8 balls of something, which is going to be kind of the base color. And I'm wondering if I put these two together, that could kind of be pretty. because I have enough of both of them to be the base color. And it's going to kind of soften that brown, which has some of those. See, look, if you put these together, I think they're going to be, I think it's going to, maybe I can do whatever I want. It's my blanket, right? It's my blanket. I can do what I want. But I think these colors are going to go really nicely together. If I double strand them, that's going to give me the density that I need for the yarn itself. Yeah. Oh, come on. Come on now. Come on now. Take a look at this. I think that is going to be really pretty together. It's just going to soften that brown just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. So when it calls for, I think there's 8 balls of it, then I'm going to do that. And then there's other parts that call for like these pretty yellows. So I thought, okay, I can do that. I can throw together, it's just going to be like kind of a maji-paji. A maji-paji, that's a Kimberly word. I love it. I love it. Yarn is the best, right? Isn't it so much fun just to sit and play with yarn all day long? Like, I know some people have to work. I'm sorry. I had to work for a long time. So like these two colors, those are very similar. I could throw those together. I could throw these colors together, or I can throw these colors, whatever I want to do. But that's probably what I'm going to do. Even these are pretty together. So this is what you're going to see in the month of April, is these two big things of yarn are going to go away with these two blankets. It's a big commitment, but I am ready to take it on. So let me know if anybody is going to be joining. If anybody chose to do the blankets that I suggested, just a suggestion, inspiration, if you will. I had done the video. I posted the video of some ideas that I had. There was one that is really pretty. I didn't choose it to do for this, but it looks like a quilt, like a Quaker quilt. Like it has the patchwork parts that you would have in a quilt. It's a little bit more muted for my taste. However, my stepson is getting married. Technically, they're already married. They did the civil service and now they're doing the big wedding. And I think that it would be something that would be nice for them for their wedding. So it's that kind of that quilted look, and it's kind of the muted colors because, you know, not everybody is, hello, Technicolor, like this girl. So it's kind of muted. So I think I'm going to try to make that for their wedding. And I think it'll be received well. You know, sometimes step families can be a little, but they seem to like me okay. I mean, I try. I mean, I make cowls for strangers. I knit stuff for strangers, right? So that's it. That's all the news that I have. Let me put all my stuff together. Switzerland was incredible. It really, really was. I would have stayed longer, but it's really expensive. You know, like a burger. And it was kind of sad when you get to the point where you're like, oh, 25 francs for a hamburger. Okay, that's not bad because it comes with fries. Well, translate that over to American dollars, and it's about a 20% increase. So you're looking at, is that about a 20% increase? About $27, $28 for a burger in a restaurant. Okay, maybe. It seemed a little expensive, but, you know, for instance, we went into a McDonald's once. Now, I know, you're like, really, a McDonald's? It was, we had to eat something fast because we were jumping into a museum, and I don't know, it just looked good. And I thought, I've never had a cheeseburger from Switzerland, you know, so I got a Happy Meal. The Happy Meal was a cheeseburger and French fries and, you know, apples or whatever it was. And that was 12 francs. So that was about $15. That seemed expensive to me for a Happy Meal. I don't know about you, because I haven't bought a Happy Meal literally in years. I haven't had fast food in probably, maybe I've had some chicken, like a Panera, but I'm talking like McDonald's or Jack in the Box or Burger King or whatever in 4 years, maybe. So I don't know. Is that expensive? That seemed expensive to me. I don't know what Happy Meals cost, but I don't remember them costing like $15, $16. Huh. That wouldn't make me happy if I was a parent having to do that. So I don't know. Anyways, but it was expensive, but it was gorgeous. Had it not been, well, no, I would have loved to have stayed longer. I told the Brit, I was like, I think we kind of feel like we need to be here. Like we should live here. We have relatives that live in the south of France. Of course he's British, so we've got that going on. Not full time, but maybe like, 6 months here and 6 months there and whatever. But it was, yeah, I don't know, it's the history. It's the, here in the States, there's nothing that is, barely over 200 years old. 300 years old. But over there, we were in this little medieval town and there was a statue that was like, this was built in the year 13 something. You're like, 13 something? Holy moly. It's like this water has been flowing out of here since year, 1410. You're like, 1410? Like, I couldn't even go back to that. So there is that. There is the history. There's the water is amazing. You are made fun of if you buy bottled water. No lie, they will make fun of you because their water is so good. And they have these fountains just all throughout the towns. I think in the city of Zurich or Lucerne, one of the two. And these are small towns. I think in Lucerne, they said they have like 1,500 water fountains. 1,500! And they're in these little city squares, town squares, and you just go up and they're always flowing and you just put your water bottle right up inside there and you get your water. And that's like, yes. Lisa says there's a lot of culture. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I think is just, it's so fascinating and it's so interesting is the culture. And just, I love to, one of my favorite things when I travel is to sit in a little cafe, preferably an outdoor cafe, because they do smoke there a lot. I don't smoke. And so, get a little bit more of the fresh air, but they're really big on community spaces and getting together and kind of hanging together with their friends and chatting it up. And so just find yourself a little cafe, grab a beer or a glass of wine or a soda or whatever it is that you drink. And I love to people watching people go by, watching like all times a day. In the morning, grab yourself a cup of coffee, maybe a pastry, and you watch people going off to work. I have a penchant. I like to watch the older people, like the little old ladies who that they've lived in this town their whole entire life, and they have their little shopping trolleys on the wheels, and they're walking through town, and they're going to the market that is open every morning, and they're buying all of their produce. They don't go to supermarkets. They go to these markets where these people come into the village with all of their, produce and their cheeses and their meats and their stuff that you've never seen before. And there's strawberries. I don't know what they did. I think I took a picture. The strawberries were as big as your face. They were so massive. I'm not kidding. It was like a 5 or 6 bite strawberry to get through it. And they have the strawberries, and then they have like all these different kinds of cheeses and breads and meats and vegetables. And you go into the village market every day or every other day or whatever, and you buy the foods that you're going to eat like that day. Breads you buy like twice a day because it's so fresh, and it goes like the bakery opens up at 6 a.m. and they've been cooking since, baking since 4, and you go and you get your bread, and then maybe in the afternoon you go back and you get, like, that's just what you do. And so to sit and watch these people and just go, wow, your life is so different. What do? We go online, hopefully, maybe not, or you go to your local market, and there's Everything you need is right there at the touch. But if you need like makeup, there's different stores. But if you want to go, they have pharmacies, and pharmacies you go in. Sometimes they have makeup, but they have a lot of skincare and things like that. But pharmacies are huge over there, and you see them everywhere. But it's for not just medicine, but it's more for like personal care items, things like that, right? But you have to go somewhere different. And then, now you got the coop, which you guys know about, and you can get your yarn there, and you can also get like your groceries. Sometimes in the bigger cities, they'd have like down below, they'd have this massive, like this whole entire floor, and you could find. We took pictures in this one place because that's kind of our hobby as the Brit and I. We like to go check out grocery stores because we're kind of foodies. There must have been 50 different types of olives, 50 different types. And they're just in these big barrels, and you can taste them if you want. They're big on sausage, and there would be hundreds of different kinds of sausage. Don't even get me started on the cheeses. So many different kinds of cheeses. I mean, rows and rows and rows, and you just go through and you taste it. And then there'd be like a little place where you could, get a ready-made meal. And then on the second floor, there was like watches and jewelry. Oh my God, the watches. There were so many watches because, hello, it's Switzerland. And then they didn't really have electronics there. But on the top floor, there was like kind of a cafeteria style restaurant. And you could sit there and you could have a meal. And they were a little bit more reasonable, but delicious, super, super healthy meals. And there was one place, I'll tell you, because we're almost out of time. On the way from Luzerne to San Moritz, it's a little place called Churn, Churn, I think it was what it was called. And our guide, because we were on a tour, he said, oh, we're going to go to Heidi Land. And I was like, Heidi Land? Oh my God. So if you don't know Heidi, the story of Heidi, I remember when I was a little girl, there was a movie starring Shirley Temple. I know I'm dating myself. And I cannot remember why, but for whatever reason, she was sent to go live with her grandfather up in the mountain. He was like a farmer or herder, I think, a rancher, I don't know, something like that. And he had goats, and he was really, really grumpy, and nobody liked him. And she had to go live with him, and I don't remember why, but I remember she went up the mountain. She wore all of her clothes, every layer that she possibly could put on, because she didn't have a suitcase. And she went up there, and then she ends up softening his heart, and yada, yada, yada. Anyways, he was a farmer or a sheep herder or whatever. And so you're going through this area, and the story was based in this area that we were in. And this was like a rest stop that, you stop on a tour, and it was called Heidi Land. And you walk up, and there's this tower, and it's like I guess you hit a button, and then she comes out and she yodels, little character up on top, and then she comes out with a goat, and then her friend, I forgot what her friend's name is, and this whole thing happens. It's a rest stop. It's a car rest stop. Oh my goodness. You walk in, and it's like this massive food emporium. There was a store that was called Picnic, and it was just for items that you would have on a picnic. And then there was a wine store, and then there was a chocolate store, and there was a Burger King. There was a lot of Burger Kings. I don't know why, but there's a lot of Burger Kings in Switzerland. And then there was, the produce was phenomenal. It was like, what the heck? And it was a rest stop. So I knew we were in good hands. That was one of our first stops. I thought, oh, Switzerland is going to be okay. It's going to be amazing. Chocolate everywhere. Everywhere you go, there was chocolate. And cheese. So much cheese, so much chocolate. And most of the cheese that you get in Switzerland is not even imported. It's just, it's not exported. It stays in Switzerland. The farmers, they only can farm it in the spring when the snow melts, so they're not doing it all year round. And they make these cheeses, and they're like, think very small, boutique, bougie farmers, and they don't make enough to export it. So it just stays there. So people in the know, you just go to Switzerland in the spring and you just get cheeses that you cannot get anywhere else in the entire world. I got to go back to Switzerland in the spring, I guess. That was amazing. Well, I've talked for an hour. I'm exhausted. A little bit of jet lag, but not too bad. They're 8 hours ahead of us because we're in Southern California. So if you're on the East Coast, then they're what, like 5 hours ahead of you. Not terrible. Not terrible. Anyways, oh my gosh. But let me just say that I've missed you guys a lot. I'm so happy to be back. And we will be here. We're not going anywhere until like May, really even like July. So I will be around every Tuesday right here at 10 a.m. Hopefully I'll be sounding a lot better. Thank you for putting up with my congestion and stuffy nose and all that kind of stuff today. And next Tuesday, I'll be back with, hopefully, I will have some progress made on both of these 2 blankets. I'll probably have this guy finished, hopefully. And maybe my other knitting little projects. So I'm just busy, 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 busy. Yeah, you're welcome, Renee says. Thanks for sharing with us. Oh my gosh, you guys, you're welcome. If I could have taken you along, I would have. So I figured, that's like the next best thing. So anyways, thank you guys for taking time out of your day today, hanging out with me. Sorry about I don't know what was going on in the beginning, but it kept dropping, but now it did great. So we'll be back next Tuesday at 10 a.m. right here doing a live. But don't forget to tune into some of the recorded stuff because I've got some like new crochet hooks from Furls that I'm going to be reviewing and some brand new ergonomic wood hooks from We Crochet that I found and I bought with my own money. All right. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I'm really glad to be back. I've missed all of you and I'll be back next Tuesday. All right. Take care. Bye.